Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This week we are making some delicious fall soups. It is not quite fall outside. It does not feel like fall. It is still quite hot, probably in the upper 70s, lower 80s, but it feels good outside. But it definitely looks like fall. I think every leaf in the neighborhood is in our yard at the moment, but that's fine. I'll just rake them up and put them to set and then put them around our trees for the winter so they keep warm. We are going to start on a delicious comfort food. This is Mexican rice and chicken. Do not ask me how to pronounce it. I will butcher it, but it is so good. Now I'm halving this recipe because we cannot eat 4 pounds of chicken. That is just way too much. So we've cut it down quite a lot. So I've got my Dutch oven here. I'm going to add a little bit of oil, probably about 2 tablespoons. And I've got some chicken here that I've just seasoned with some salt and pepper. And we're going to add that in there, along with 1 onion. And we're going to sear this up for 2 minutes on each side, and then we'll go from there. Alright, these have cooked for 2 minutes on each side. My onion kind of fell apart, but that's okay. We're going to add 5 cups of water. If you need to adjust the water level, you can go ahead and do so now. I think I'm going to add about 2 more cups of water. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to give this a little stir, and we're going to bring this up to a boil. And once this comes to a boil and that foam kind of comes up, the fat from the chicken, just take a spoon or a skimmer and skim that off and discard it. Alright, once that is done, I'm going to reduce the heat to medium-low, cover this with a lid, and I'm going to let it cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. So I'll meet you back when it's done. Alright y'all, this has been cooking for 20 minutes, and I'm going to take out 2 cups of the broth. I'm just going to put it in my little cup here. Okay, I'm going to cover this back up and let it continue to cook, and we're going to move over to the counter and we're going to blend up our sauce. Alright, so I've got everything ready to go. I've got my blender here, and I'm going to add half of an onion, 3 tomatoes, I just got them quartered, 1 garlic clove, some tomato sauce, about a cup, some cumin, chicken bouillon powder, and I'm also going to strain in my liquid here. And I'm going to bring my blender here, and we're going to blend this up. I'm going to take out the centerpiece of my blender lid. I'm just going to put my oven mitt on the top, and we're going to blend this up until it's completely smooth. Alright, so I'm just going to remove my lid. We're going to set that to the side, and we're going to add in all of our sauce here. Smells so good. I am so ready, but we've still got a little bit to cook. We're going to add in some rice. I've just got it drained and rinsed, or rinsed and drained. We're going to add all of that right in here, and we are going to give this a stir. I'm going to turn my heat up to medium-low. Put the lid back on this. We're going to let this cook for another 15 to 20 minutes, or until that rice is nice and tender. Alright, so this has been cooking about 20 minutes. I'm going to just take the lid off. Oh my word, this smells so good. I'm going to give this a nice little stir, make sure all of that rice is not sticking to the bottom of the pan. This smells so good, so I am going to give this a taste. Make sure the rice is done and see if I need any more seasoning. So I'm just going to add a little bit more salt and pepper to this because it needs a little bit, not much, but it tastes so good. So I'm just going to give this another little mix, make sure everything is nice and dissolved into the soup. I'm going to give it another taste, make sure the seasonings are good. I'm also going to add in some parsley. Now, the recipe calls for cilantro. My cilantro has pretty much given up for the year, so we're just going to add some parsley. It'll be okay. I'm just going to mix this in, and we're going to let this cook for another 5 minutes, and then this will be done. Here is my bowl of this delicious chicken and rice soup. I just topped it with some red pepper flakes and some chopped parsley. You can do fresh or dried. I did dried, but it was absolutely delicious. Now, if you like chicken and rice, you're going to love this. It's so easy, so flavorful, and delicious. Just highly recommend this one. It's so comforting. I am making my bourbon beef stew today. I have made this on my channel before. I think I have it up on my blog. If I do, I'll leave it linked down below, but I'm pretty sure it's there. But I'm making that today. It is so delicious. Now, if you don't like bourbon, you can certainly leave it out. But we're going to start out with adding some oil and butter to my Dutch oven. We're going to add in some diced beef. I am using a beef roast, but you can use whatever kind of beef you like. And I'm just going to season that up with some salt and pepper. And I'm going to let this cook for a few minutes just until it gets brown on all sides. Alright, now that the beef has browned up on all sides, I'm going to remove it from the pan and set it in a bowl to the side. It does not have to be cooked completely through at this point because it's going to get cooked again later. I'm going to add in 1 diced onion, and I'm going to let that cook up for about 5 minutes. Now that the onions are nice and tender, I'm going to go in and add 2 cloves of minced garlic. Spread that around the pan, let that cook for about 30 seconds or until it's fragrant. Then I'm going to cut my heat off, add in my bourbon, cut my heat back on, and let that reduce down for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, stir that around and let that toast up for a minute or two. And then we're going to add in some Worcestershire sauce and our spices, some garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, chili powder. All of that will be in the recipe. We're going to let that toast up for about a minute, and then we're going to slowly add in our beef broth. Alright, now that you have your spices and your broth all nice and mixed together, you're going to add your beef and all of the juices into the pot. You're going to give that a nice little stir around. You're going to turn your heat up to medium high. Bring this up to a boil. Put a lid on it. Reduce the heat down to low. And you're going to let this simmer away for about 2 to 2.5 hours until that meat is so nice and tender. Alright, y'all. It has been 2.5 hours and the house smells so good. You're going to remove the lid. You're also going to remove about 3/4 of a cup of the cooking liquid, and you're just going to let that sit to the side and let it cool down. Once it cools, you're going to add your flour. Go ahead and add in your potatoes and your carrots. You're going to pop the lid back on, give it a stir, put the lid back on it, and you're going to let this cook for another 35 to 45 minutes just until those potatoes and carrots are tender, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. It has been 45 minutes later and those vegetables have cooked down and they're nice and tender. My reserved liquid has cooled down. I went ahead and whisked in my flour, and that is ready to go into the stew. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. We're going to give that a stir. I'm going to cut my heat up to medium-low and let that simmer away for about 5 to 10 minutes until that stew has thickened up. Alright, you guys, here is this wonderfully delicious bowl of beef stew. I just topped it with some chopped parsley and some green onions. My daughter wanted some canned biscuits to go with it. Luckily, I had 1 can of canned biscuits in the fridge, so I just baked those up per directions and had that along with the beef stew. Now, if you like peas in your beef stew, I always forget to put them in there, but they're really good in there. Just add the peas the last 5 minutes of cook time and it would be so delicious. Alright, you guys, this one is for all my curry lovers out there. We're going to be making a eggplant curry. It is so good, so easy. So I've got a couple of eggplants here. They were pretty small, so I just used both of them, or you can use one large eggplant, and whatever I have left I'm just going to put in a bowl and I can add it to a different recipe this week. But I just got them cubed like this because they're going to shrink up a little bit in the oven. So they're about 1 inch by 1 inch cubes. We're going to add some olive oil to all of my eggplant. And eggplant are like little sponges. They will take on any flavor that you add to it, which makes them very, very good to use for curries. So I just added a little bit of salt. I'm going to add some pepper. And then we're going to toss this up. We're going to put this in a 430-degree oven. If your oven doesn't go to 430 degrees, do 425, and it'll work just fine. So once we get these all mixed up, we're going to put them in the oven. We're going to bake them for about 20 to 25 minutes, flipping halfway through or until they are nice and golden. Alright, now that the eggplant is done, I've just got it sitting over here to the side. Now you can make the curry while you're cooking your eggplant, but I just wanted to go ahead and get it out of the way so I could just cut my the oven off. So I just went ahead and got that done. So now I'm heating up a pan over medium heat. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. And we're going to cook up an onion for about 3 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and let this cook down a little bit, and then we'll add some more ingredients. Alright, so this has been cooking for about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add in some garlic and some ginger. And we're going to let this fry up for about a minute. Make sure to break up that ginger. Just these 3 ingredients, onion, garlic, and ginger, is already smelling just divine. It smells so good. Alright, now we're going to lower the heat to low medium. And we're going to add in some turmeric, coriander, curry, and red pepper flakes. I will leave this recipe down in the description box below so you can get all of the measurements and all of the ingredients. We're also going to add in some black pepper. And this just smells so good. As soon as these spices hit that heat, it just smells so good. Alright, so I don't want to burn the spices. We're going to go ahead and add in some vegetable broth. And I'm just going to give this a little stir just to make sure to get all of those spices off the bottom of the pan here. Now we're going to add in some crushed tomatoes, some chickpeas that I've already drained and rinsed really well, and a can of coconut milk. And I might have to switch out my pan here because it's getting a little full. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a stir. Make sure all of that is nice and combined. I'm going to raise my heat up just a little bit. We're going to bring this to a boil. And then reduce it down slightly. And then we're just going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and make some rice to go with this and prep my toppings. All right, so this has been cooking for about 25 minutes and it just smells so good at this point, but we're not done yet. We are going to add some of this delicious eggplant. I'm not going to add all of it because it's quite a lot. But if you like eggplant, you can add as much or as little as you want. Make sure you get it all in the pan. All right, now we're just going to mix this together and we're going to let this cook for another 5 to 10 minutes. And then we will taste it and see if we need to add any more salt or pepper. And then this will be done. I've got my rice on cooking, so everything should be done right about the same time. So I'm just going to let that do its thing, and then we'll make our plate. All right, so this is pretty much done. I went ahead and added the garam masala. I love the smell of garam masala, especially when you add it in a curry. It just smells so good, and it gives the dish so much flavor. So now we're just going to go ahead and give this a taste and see if we need to add any more salt or pepper or anything else. Oh no, that is perfect. So I've got my rice over here. It's almost done. It's got like 2 minutes left to do its natural release. And then we will plate this up. Here's my plate, y'all. I just served this with a side of rice and a slice of lime. You can do lemon. I just had limes on hand that I needed to use up. And then I just topped the curry with some dried parsley. You guys, this is so good. I love curry. My daughter also loves curry, so that's great. My husband, not so much. He's not a curry fan, but we love it. It's so good. If you like curry, you're going to love this one. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys next week on Tuesday. Hope you guys have a great and safe, wonderful week. Bye, y'all.